When you think of a hybrid, you generally think of this and not this. But in reality, there is a lot more going on underneath the sheet metal of this baby buggy than just two propulsion systems. First, there's a rather powerful twin-turbo V8. Second, strapped to that engine is an integrated starter generator motor. And third, combine all that with some whiz-bang like Star Wars kind of technology that sits underneath this almost 6,000-pound vehicle, which makes it drive unlike any other baby buggy you and I have ever driven before. Before you and I kick this off, I need to impress upon you the size of this thing. Yeah, you think it's a big vehicle, and it is. But you guys generally complain about me using imperial units, but that's really the only way to get the point across. This vehicle is 17 feet long, just a little bit longer than 17 feet, and it weighs very aggressively into the 5,000-pound range. But it gets 184 pounds of torque from zero from an electric motor. With that, bist du fertig? It doesn't have the pageantry of an M2 competition or an AMG GT, but my God, this has got to be one of the most aggressive, very luxury SUVs that you and I have ever driven together. Like, it has the grunt of an Escalade, and there's nothing that comes close to an Escalade. Like, there's a swagger that an Escalade has because of its acceleration and the sound sensation that no other SUVs have. This kind of comes close because of the electric motor. And wow, and in doing some extra research here, I found they're going to put this very engine with the integrated starter generator motor in the shorter GLE. And it's mind-boggling, like, because this thing delivered, this is flat out fast, people. You don't expect a vehicle this size to be fast, but it is. Imagine that in a shorter vehicle. Inside, this is simultaneously a very high-tech and very flash place to be, with two things that stand out. First and foremost, the tactile feel, even in places you normally don't see, arguably the best no matter what the cost. And then second is the design. Me personally, I've never been a huge fan of the nesting doll approach when it comes to design. And when you look at the GLE that we drove a couple of months ago, this interior is virtually a carbon copy. Not saying it's a bad interior, it's just when you're spending about 40 grand more in base price, I would want something that sets it apart. Am I the only one that thinks that? Let me know in the comments below. If you can see that map there, you know what we are about to embark upon is not a good idea with a vehicle of this size and weight. But it's for science. Dig a bit deeper. We've got road scan, which reads the road both with the cameras as well as with the GIS data from the maps. And then there is the curve control. This is all in addition. It's layered on top of the air ride, which is fitted as standard to all GLSs now. And this, please do not try this at home, but oh my God, Santa Maria Madre de Dios, this thing, I am somewhat surprised that a vehicle, frankly, this is the size of a cruise ship, and look at how aggressively you and I'm squealing tires. There is significant confidence when you push it aggressively, even on roads like this. I'm kind of blown away. The best way to really describe this to you guys is this is what sets it apart from an X7. An X7, remember, that was more about a comfortable drive. It never really got that stiff, even in the sports setting. This is not about stiff either. Like, it still has some compliance, even in the most stiff setting. But what's happening is I have complete composure over all planes of motion, pitch, squat, dive, and roll. Completely sets this suspension system apart and really is a technological marvel. As in other Mercedes episodes where you and I have discussed this mild hybrid system, I'm rather biased. However, I've been spending a lot of time, probably too much time, focusing on power delivery, we do have to switch gears a little bit and talk about how that power gets to the road. And that's where there's a pretty sizable change in the all-wheel drive system. Most of you are familiar with 4MATIC from our other Mercedes episodes, and it's been around for a long time. Previously, the power was sent certain amount to the back, certain amount to the front, and can vary a little bit. What's changed here, especially with all this power coming out of this mild hybrid system, is now it's fully variable. So it could send power to the back, power to the front, but most interestingly, for frankly a Mercedes SUV that's not a G-Wagen, it could send up to 50% of the torque to the front wheels. Yeah, that's all fine and good, but how does it translate into reality, being this thing ain't a G-Wagen? Now, if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, yeah, the extra torque to the front wheels and the more variation between the front and back probably will help with off-road. But you and I both know these things, they're going to be on-road. They're designed to take the rugrats to school or people who want a very fancy conveyance that's tall. So this having more torque in the front probably benefits when there's a lot of moisture on the road or if you're trying to go to a mountain to ski. Full disclosure, this part of the episode, it kind of scares me with a vehicle this size and weight, but we're here for science, as we said earlier. And brake. Oh, hold on a minute. That actually worked. And there wasn't any pageantry, and that's kind of a positive here. Like, I fully expected this thing to pull completely to the right or the left, not do that. Actually, let's try that again. Get on, and here we go, and that's... Okay, at higher speeds, it gets out a little bit beyond its skis, where you feel the heft trying to come down to a stop, but around town, you don't notice it, and frankly, if you're putting a family in a vehicle like this, it actually works well in panic stop situations. Yes, it is indeed that time again to play your favorite game, and mine, the options game, with a bit of a full house. Not just the contestant, we got a lot of British cars here today. With that, our contestant, man, you need to belt in, because it's not just the price, there's some unique stuff here. So with that, let's dive right in. 2020 GLS 580 4MATIC for a base price of, are you ready for this, $97,850. To that, we add a stunning color. We've seen this before, selenite gray. They charge you $720 for it, for gray. Then, the exclusive Napa leather interior. Now, I'm a big fan of Napa leather, but why would you get this cool color on the outside and have no contrast? Still $2,990. Then we add the Designo black open pore wood. Now, again, I am a huge fan of open pore satin finish wood, but why make it black, especially when the wood costs you an extra $850? Then we add the 22-inch AMG spoke wheels. I gotta admit, at $1,250, a bargain, and they look incredibly cool. Summer performance tires that go with it are no charge. Then we add the MBUX upgraded or augmented reality for the navigation. So navigation comes standard, but they charge you an extra $300 for augmented reality. I don't know if I'd go for that, would you? Then we move on to the electric rear side window sunshades, $580. It's a GLS 580, get it? Anyway, moving on. Then we move on to the cup holders that are heated and cooled for $180. Okay, I guess we're doing that. And then, did we say that this is a $97,000 car? The sunroof is an additional $1,000, as is a heated steering wheel, which is an additional $250. Then the head-up display, let's file that under the same, like, I cannot believe, $100,000 car. They charge you for this $990. Then there's something called Black Dinamica Headliner. I guess that's a new brand, not Alcantara, but it is Alcantara, meaning it's kind of a faux suede. I need that at $1,800. The MBUX Interior Assistant. That is optional. I thought that was standard at $300. Wow, that's a lot of money for something that should be on a $100,000 car. Anyway, that's me. Then this one, something is askew because the document shows me this VIN number here and on that car, but this says that is a 6-seat configuration, meaning captain's chairs, but that ain't captain chairs back there. That's the bench, even though it has an option which changes it. Me personally, I'm more of a fan of the look of the captain's chairs, but then again, I am not a practical human being that would buy one of these, so really that's your call. Either way, no charge for the 6-seat captain chair combination. Then let's press on to some packages. The first one is the assistance package. Lots of stuff, but the biggest thing we got to focus on here is the Distronic Plus. That's like the very semi-autonomous driving. Repeat after me, there's no such thing as an autonomous vehicle on the market today. Say it and say it many times. Anyway, that is a $2,250 option. Then we move on to my second favorite option, which is the rear seat executive package. We talked about the difference between a 6-seat and a 7-seat configuration. This one is 7 seats, but it has the executive package, which is kind of cool. It's got a tablet in the back that mimics the controls in the front, but then it also has side airbags, a Qi wireless charger in the back. Very cool, and that is $2,200. Then there's an Energizer package or an Energy package. The big takeaway there is, you know that atomizer they put starting in the S-Class back in 2013? That is optional here, and it's $2,100. I don't think I'd want that. And then we move on to the night package, which virtually every Mercedes you and I get here in California, they put this package on it. Blacked out trim and a black diffuser in the back, $300. Then we move on to an acoustic comfort package. It's basically more insulation. Now, I would argue that this has got a cool sounding engine. Why would you want more insulation when you have a cool sounding engine, especially for $1,100? And then the most important option and my favorite is the e-active body control at a bargain of $6,500. To that, we add the destination delivery of $995 for a total retail price of $124,255 for an incredibly fancy and an incredibly capable Baby Buggy. So to be completely fair here, let's roll back to comfort mode, and that switches off the curve control and all that road scan business to understand just the steering wheel, isolate that. Get a bit more, I don't want to say aggressive because it's a neighborhood, but this is where a vehicle like this is going to live and people are going to use it. And the first thing you notice immediately is what we don't get in that GLE. Remember we talked about how the shorter wheelbase, I know they made it longer for this generation, but there's still that unique ML characteristic that I don't love in those things. It feels too short, so the steering is compromised there. Here, not the case. At least that's my educated guess as a car guy. You guys are most certainly aware that I am not a fan of sitting in the back seat. However, this is a flash place to be. And that is because there are a number of party tricks going on. First is the sunshade, although the controller is counterintuitive back here. Wish they would fix that. Then this has a sunshade. And then remember in the GLE that had power seats in the back, although they were optional along with like $30,000 in other options. It's fitted as standard in all GLSs here. Then heated and cooled seats. Let's turn those off. Then there's an HVAC controller back here as well. So what's interesting, it has, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zone climate. 5, not just dual. That's interesting. And then remember, it's got the sort of like faux suede headliner here, but none of that is the reason why it's flashback here. This is why. It's fitted with the rear executive package, which is these pillows here, the Qi wireless charger here, and then this tablet. Now, sadly, the only option is an Android tablet, but this is why they do it. I would prefer them having both on offer, but Apple is kind of a closed environment. What Mercedes did is they mimicked their MBUX on top of Android. So I can go in and I can control, say, the comfort. So just like you could set up the massage seats in the front through the MBUX, you can do it here as well in the back. Very nice touch, and that's incredibly loud. But you can still use it as an Android.
What do you want to do?
I want you to shut up. Let's see if she gets that.
I can't believe you just said that to me.
At least she has a sense of humor. That's another party trick. Anyway, Very nice place to be, and she entertains you along the way. Back at our torture chamber that is Portuguese Bend. To make this incredibly fair, let's go back to comfort, turn off the curve control. So this is just the air ride, push it a bit aggressively. Man, you can tell the difference immediately. When you turn off that curve control, this is a floaty, it's kind of like an old Cadillac, man, especially on a road that has this kind of like dips and bends and undulations and all that kind of stuff. But now as we get to the crest, let's go back into curve control and push it a bit more aggressively as we get into the deepest part of it. As you can see, the road is just a mess. Wow, what a difference. I am truly amazed that the marvel that this curve control thing is. Or really curve control plus the road scan, because it knows what's coming. It's prepping the system. It's not a predictive system, but it's prepping the system, say, hey man, the road's twisty or the road has elevation changes, and let's plan for it. Now, as cool as that is, what would be truly amazing is if the GIS data had road conditions in the information that was being sent to the car. Like right now, this is a glass smooth road, but back there, maybe it classifies the road. That's not a Mercedes thing, that's more of like a Navtech thing, or who owns Navtech now at this point? Anyway, it's the map supplier that would give that information, but now you've got a system that could do something with that information. The world today, man, and it's all databases when you really think about it.